The number one mistake we see people make in their job search is thinking they understand how the system works. You can be smart, experienced, and great at what you do, but if you're playing the wrong game, none of that matters. So if you've been applying to dozens, even hundreds of roles and hearing nothing back, it's not just a tough market, and it's not just because you don't have the right keywords. The real reason? Context. Here's what I mean. Companies use a system called ATS, Applicant Tracking Software, to screen resumes. Most people think it scans for keywords, but that hasn't been true for years. Modern ATS platforms use something called NLP, Natural Language Processing. That means the system isn't just looking for what you said, it's analyzing how you said it, where you said it, and what it means in context. And that one detail, it's the reason most qualified professionals get filtered out before a human ever sees them. So in this video, we're going to break it all down. What the ATS actually does, why context matters more than keywords, how most resumes fail without realizing it, and how to rebuild yours to pass the scan, get seen, and finally start landing interviews. Let's dive in. Here's what most people believe. If I just match the right keywords to the job posting, I'll get through. And that leads to one of two strategies. They either blast the same resume to every role, or they obsessively tweak words and bullet points line by line. Both miss the point because modern ATS systems don't just check for words. They use NLP to evaluate what you said, the content, how you said it, the structure, where you said it, the context. NLP is looking at 5 core signals. Content, what's being said. Are you using strategic role-appropriate language? Structure, are your sentences constructed in a way that sounds like someone at the right level? Proximity, are the right words near each other in a way that creates real context? Tools, are you naming platforms, systems, or frameworks that signal credibility? Outcomes, are you tying actions to business impact? It's not just looking for words like strategic or led. It's asking, does this person sound like they've operated at the level they're applying for? So if your resume is just a list of responsibilities and buzzwords, even if they're the right buzzwords, it gets rejected because it lacks coherence, it lacks narrative, and it lacks clarity around who you are and what level you operate at. The system can't tell you're qualified because it doesn't see the context. And if that isn't immediately obvious, you're getting rejected before a human even sees it. Let's look at a simple example. 2 candidates both use the word strategy. Candidate A says, worked on strategy for onboarding process. Okay, fine. Candidate B says, led redesign of customer onboarding strategy across 3 regions, cutting time to value by 22%. Same word, completely different result. Why does candidate B win? Because they anchor ownership. Led, scope, 3 regions, outcome, 22%, business context, time to value. That's the level of clarity NLP understands. That's what gets through. Let me show you a real example. Jasmine came to us with over 10 years in client success. She was aiming for a director role, but her resume was still written like a manager. Here's what her bullets used to say. Managed post-sale relationships for 20-plus clients, owned renewals and expansion for mid-market segment, improved onboarding to decrease TTV by 36%. Sounds fine, right? Here's what NLP doesn't see. No revenue scope, no tool usage, no strategy language, no cross-functional impact. It's task-based, not outcome-based. It's what she did, not how she moved the business. Here's what we changed it to. Scaled enterprise portfolio from 4.5 million to 11 million ARR by building CS workflows in Gainsight, driving adoption and partnering with product and sales. Launched NPS and health scoring in Salesforce, reduced churn by 19%. Collaborated with VP Revenue to launch QBR model, now standard across all CS teams. This version tells you a director-level story. System design, KPI impact, tool fluency, executive collaboration, strategic ownership. That version got interviews within 3 weeks. Now let's talk about what actually makes your resume stand out, not just to the ATS, but to the human who eventually lays eyes on it. Because here's the thing. Once you get past the software, you're still up against hundreds of candidates, and most of them are saying the same things. That's why you need context anchors, clear signals that show you operate at a higher level. So, what are they? The first one is tool fluency. But not just listing tools. That's not enough. Saying used Gainsight or used Salesforce is really basic. Everyone can say that. The people who stand out show how they use the tool to drive a result. Something like built onboarding workflows in Gainsight, cutting time to value by 22%. Now you're not just checking a box, you're proving strategic thinking. The second anchor is metrics. Numbers cut through noise. They prove impact without needing explanation. Think churn, NPS, expansion revenue. If you reduced churn by 18%, say it. If you increased portfolio size by $6 million, say it. Metrics are the fastest way to create credibility and memory. Third is cross-functional action. Generic, worked with cross-functional teams. Strategic, partnered with product and RevOps to roll out a new expansion playbook. That's what someone at the director or VP level sounds like. It shows altitude, scope, ownership, not task execution. Fourth is system design. This is where most resumes fall flat, because even when people have strong experience, they forget to show that they built something, that they led change, that they didn't just do the job, they shaped how it was done. So instead of improved onboarding process, you say, rebuilt onboarding experience across 3 regions, reducing ramp time by 30%. That's system level language, and both the ATS and the human reader flag that as high value. Now here's why this matters. These anchors are what tell the system and the hiring manager this person isn't just qualified, they're already thinking like someone in the role we're trying to fill. And that's how you get pulled out of the pile. Not because you had the right buzzwords, but because your story sounded like someone already at the level they're hiring for. That's what context does. If your resume isn't getting traction, it's not because you're missing keywords, it's because the system doesn't recognize your level. And fixing that isn't about saying different things. It's about saying them differently. It's about telling your story with context so the system sees your altitude, clarity, so nothing gets lost in translation, credibility, so the metrics speak for you, proof, so you sound like the role you want, not the one you have. Because when all 4 are there, the system doesn't just see you, it highlights you, it elevates you, it sends you straight to the short list. That's when the interviews start rolling in, not by chance, but by design.